Welcome back to Alabama Live. Today we're learning about a new children's book that tackles the issue of the absence of a parent while also helping single parents navigate those tough conversations with their children. It's called Just Like My Dad. And joining us live now to talk more about it are the authors, Elizabeth Johnson and Tyrell Plair. Thank you both for joining us.
Thank you so much for having us.
Tyrell, this was a very personal project for you both. What made you want to write this book?
This book actually definitely was a personal project for me, being that I definitely heard the term, I'm like my dad. Being that I'm like my dad, you had to find out what's the good and the bad when it comes to those words. And it was tough for me to figure out. My dad wasn't in my life for a long time, and my mom had to find other avenues of teaching us ways to be a man. And one of those ways that she did, she got us into sports. And just like my dad was always in my head. And Coach Carl, this character, Coach Carl, that I created, is actually a live character of Coach Phil McCullough that took on the role of a mentor and dad when we didn't have a parent around.
This is obviously a difficult topic for a lot of people. Elizabeth, how do you go about talking about this issue in a way that makes sense to children who may be hurting?
Well, just like my dad, it basically brings the conversation alive with the children and the parents. So we have to start the conversation through literacy, which not only enriches or enhances the conversation, but creates an opportunity for development skills that's needed in our everyday lives of the children. So basically starting the conversation through tough times, even with Just Like My Dad, we have things like abandonment, the separation of divorce of a parent, things that children go through. This also opens up that conversation with the parent, also the community worldwide, for us to get involved in the children's lives through literacy.
Talk to us a little bit more about the book, Tyrell, and the story that it tells specifically.
Yeah, I can tell you a little bit about the first chapter. So we try and personalize each character. The first chapter is based around a young lady named Miriam. Her dad is a truck driver over the road, and he engages with her real well. But he's gone 3 weeks out of the month. So the mom is forced to take on the absence of why he's gone. But she doesn't engage with the mom like that. She doesn't play games. She doesn't talk to the mom. So it brings off self-imposed isolation, where she just turns into being aloof, and it hurts a child. So where do you find that? How do you talk to the parent and get the child to engage? How do you talk to that child and say, what's going on? What am I not doing that your dad is doing, so we can be better engaged? And that's what this book does in a way, more so than just talking to a kid. A lot of parents don't know how to talk to a kid. So this opens up the conversation for a child to say, hey, Mom, my dad is over the road a lot. This is something that I'm very concerned about. I don't get to engage with you. And coaches, and I centered it around sports because coach is the best educational and teacher format it is. You can learn so much in a coaching atmosphere. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to center around sports.
And Elizabeth, I think that's such an important point that he brought up about teaching our children to begin that conversation with their parents, because when a parent is a single parent or the other parent is absent a lot, there's a lot of responsibility and a lot of stress on that parent who's there at home with the children, and they may not think to slow down and speak with the kid and play games with them. So talk a little bit more about that, about empowering our children.
Well, we have to basically empower the children. As it states, it takes a village to raise a child. So basically, we have to know that we're part of that village, whether it's a teacher, a coach, or a neighbor. We have to be able to make an impact on that child's life to get the conversation started. And we have to also make the child feel comfortable in order to come to us and tell us what is needed, what is going on, and have that open door conversation with them.
You both plan to be here in Montgomery later this week for a book signing. Tyrell, tell us about when and where that will be and how folks can get a copy of your book.
The book signing will be in Montgomery, Alabama. Elizabeth has the address exactly where it is. There it is, the Crest Building. Reason we're doing a two-day event, this is purposely done for us. We do two-day events like this. We like to promote literacy. So not only do we want to engage with adults that come to our company, because Just like my dad is not the only book from our company. We have Stolen Innocence and several other novels as well. But we also want a chance to engage with the kids and promote literacy. And literacy is not just reading. Literacy is telling your child to get better at what you're doing. If your next door neighbor is working on his car and you're interested in that, go learn it. And you just became literate in something that you didn't know about and you could teach someone else. And that's why we try to do 2-day events to engage not just to sell books and talk about the novels that we have out, but to engage with the community, have more time to answer and ask questions.
Tyrell and Elizabeth, thank you so much for joining us here on Alabama Live. I know your book's going to make a difference in the lives of so many children. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having us.